Greetings, everyone. I imagine that many of you have seen situations like this. So, Jeremy, what are your plans for the weekend?
I don't know.
Or like this, Katie, what is the biggest problem in your country right now? Or how about this situation? Alex, I heard you have a part-time job at a coffee shop. Can you tell me about how much money you make there? Mm, um, uh, as you can see, Jeremy, Katie, and Alex kind of killed the conversation by how they reacted to my question. These are some common conversation killers. I don't really know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I'd have to think about that. I'd rather not say. You know, it's quite common for ESL students to be in situations like this. They are asked a fairly common question like, where will you go on your next vacation? Then their brains have to imagine what their plans are and how to explain those plans, often using their limited English vocabulary and grammar knowledge. That process can take time. And then, in the meantime, knowing that the questioner is waiting for an answer to the question that would be easy to answer in his or her own language, the student is feeling pressure to answer quickly and feeling embarrassment that it's taking so long and feeling stress from appearing foolish. In the meantime, the person who asked the question can often feel impatient or frustrated while waiting for a response. The questioner will wonder if the student didn't understand the question, or if they don't know what to say, or if they're just not interested. Too often in situations like this, the conversation dies and the questioner moves on to talk to someone else, and the student is left feeling foolish and abandoned. This activity will lead students to learn a technique that can completely prevent that from happening. It's called Don't Kill the Conversation. Here is how it works. By the way, in the notes below, I'll include a link to the complete activity that you can use with your students. So basically, the technique involves two responses to the question. So first, we acknowledge the question, and then second, we return that question back to the questioner. So here's a couple of examples. What's your favorite movie?
1. I'm not sure. 2. What about you?
Or here's another example. How old are you?
1. I'd rather not say. How old are you?
Here are some expressions for one, acknowledging the question that we don't know how to answer.
I don't really know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I'd have to think about that. I'd rather not say.
And then here are some questions we can ask to keep the conversation going. In other words, for two, returning that question back to the questioner.
What do you think? How do you feel? What about you? How about you?
This technique is especially useful for ESL students because they are often asked questions that they don't know how to answer quickly. For example, they can use this when they don't know what to say. What is the best new video game?
I don't really know. What do you think?
Or they can use it when they are asked a question that is embarrassing. How much do you weigh?
I'm not sure. How about you?
Or they can use this when they don't really want to answer the question. How do you feel about the students in this class?
Hmm, I'd rather not say. How do you feel about them?
Or they can use it in this situation when the question is really difficult one to answer. What is your opinion about nuclear energy?
I'd have to think about that. What do you think?
Now, I'll briefly show you the exercises that I'll share with you in the link below. So, in exercise 1, students are introduced to the technique by filling in blanks in a dialogue. This serves as a model for group work. Then we do exercise 2, and in this one, students work in pairs. And in exercise 2, there are 3 steps. In step 1, each pair of students is given a paper, either a student A or student B. They read their questions, which their partners cannot see, and respond to each other with details by using the technique. For example,
Have you ever gotten into trouble with the police?
um, I'd rather not say. How about you?
Yes, I did. But, actually, it wasn't a big problem. They stopped me for speeding.
Really? Where was it?
Oh, it was on the interstate.
How fast were you going?
Oh, I don't know. It was about 15 miles over the limit. Did you ever get a ticket?
And so the conversation can continue, or we could do the next question. So then, next is step 2. But now, before I tell you about it, I want to mention something about pair activities like this one. As you can imagine, some pairs will finish before others. So you'll want to have some options ready for them to do while they wait for the others. So in the notes below, I'll give you a link to some suggestions that are easy for teachers to use in these kinds of situations. Now, back to step 2. With their partners, they write some questions. As you can see, we tell them that a few questions can be embarrassing and a few difficult. So this is a chance for them to customize the activity by asking questions about current events in the world or things about what's happening on campus or about their classmates, etc. For example, a pair of students once wrote,
Who do you think is the smartest student in our class? And do you think we should be required to get the new booster shots?
then we come to step 3. They change partners and they read the questions that they had written in step 2 to their new partners and acknowledge the questions by using killer expressions and returning that question back to the questioner by asking keeper questions. During this step, you'll probably notice that the volume of students' voices is raised and laughing increases. Feel free to use the link in the notes below and try this out with your students. I'm confident that they'll not only enjoy it, but also benefit from this technique. Thank you for watching.